Welcome to the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks. We're Jim and Joe, lifelong friends, lifelong fans, bringing you fan-driven sports talk the way real fans do. No overpaid experts, no scripted analysis, just honest takes on the games, players, and the big stories shaping sports right now.
And we want you to be a part of it too. Thank you for joining us every single time. Drop your comments, questions, and takes, and we'll read them all and bring them into future shows. We have a couple today. Please hit like, subscribe, and join us for free on YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, or wherever you listen. And happy Monday.
It is Monday. It's Monday after a crazy weekend, Thursday through, a crazy weekend of basketball. Wow. It delivers every time. It's amazing. We're going to talk about that for sure. Yeah. I can't wait to talk about that, some of the performances as well. But I always like to, remind myself that the world of sports keeps turning. Something's going on here. Well, something's going on there. And, of course, basketball is front and center and should get center stage. But there's still things going on. And I think, kind of an honorable mention thing. Not that we're, not saying those sports aren't as good or anything like that, but let's face it, we want to get to basketball. But what else is going on? I mean, we've got NASCAR, for example. What's going on in NASCAR?
And talk about the sports world never slows down. You talk about a fast race. The Martinsville Cookout 400. The difference for the winner and loser. 0.565 seconds. Pretty much.
How many seconds?
Half a second. Yeah.
Half a second?
And it was Chase Elliott got the win over Denny Hamlin.
Wow. So in NASCAR with cars going, at the finish, I don't know, I'm assuming around 200.
Right.
The difference was like half a second.
Yes.
So would that mean who won?
Chase Elliott.
So did they inspect his car to make sure he didn't have like a front license plate on his vehicle to give him that margin of victory over Hamlin? Because it sounds like we're talking about an insect or something was on the front of his bumper, because that's close.
We're going to send our research staff to find out. It could have been It could have been, since it's the Cookout 400, it could have been beef. It's what's for dinner. And it won him the race.
Hey, slice of beef, jerky or something on that, whatever it was, worked. Well, it's pretty amazing. Reddick didn't win though, right? I mean, that was the surprise news coming out of it. Reddick didn't win.
That's correct. Chase Elliott, first win of the year.
Good for him. You know what? Good for him. Good for Chase. Good line of racers in his family.
Yes, sir.
I happen to keep a little bit of an eye on the PGA this week. I was watching the final round of the Houston Open, Memorial Park Golf Course in Texas, and it wasn't really much of a finish because Gary Woodland had a 5, 6, 7 stroke lead and maintained that lead the entire day. But what was really heart-catching was the way he reacted to the victory. Don't forget, Gary Woodland had brain surgery, scary brain surgery. This isn't like, skin cancer where they scrape a little bit off your forearm. This was major brain surgery. Not sure, how you come out of that. Can you even walk, kind of thing, and all that. 2 years ago. And it's been a long road back for him. And if you get a chance to watch not only his reaction when he sank the putt to win it, but his post round press conference or speech with the the commentator at the end right there off the green, man, hard not to have a tissue in your hand watching that whole thing, and a really good guy. So anyways, congratulations to him, and keep making the comeback there.
Yes, congratulations. Brain surgery. Wow.
Yeah.
He's back at it. God bless him.
Yeah, well, I assume most brain surgery is, but life-saving brain surgery, like it was not voluntary. I mean, they had to do it to save his life. And again, that's a very dangerous surgery. You never know what you come out of it with. So, kudos to him and his team. It's great. College baseball's not really in full swing yet. 9-10 games under our belts here. I noticed Florida State is leading the ACC. Pretty good so far.
Yeah.
My beloved Miami Hurricanes, pretty good record, 21-7, but boy, 4-5 in the ACC. We got to pick it up a notch. But
yeah,
I heard some devastating news for Florida State. What happened?
Well, speaking of, I guess this is a heart-wrenching podcast for the very, very beginning. And it might be at the end when we're talking about how Duke lost, right?
Yeah.
But
Wait, was that a spoiler alert?
yeah. But Miles Bailey broke his ankle with an awkward slide into second base in a ball game that FSU was leading 12-11. They ended up winning on Saturday, but it looked like he changed his mind, like he was going to just run into second. Oh, wait, last second he decides to try to slide. Didn't even have a full slide, and his ankle, I'll save it from the graphic, from the faint of heart, but he broke his ankle, severe break, and feel really bad for the kid because Miles Bailey is one of the best players in the sport.
Yeah.
And I'm not just bragging about him because he goes to FSU, but he's a stud and he's done for the year. And that first thing when I saw the news, I wasn't watching the game, and my cousin Top Cat sends me a text and it's got it on there. And I said immediately, Jordan Travis Part 2. And I've seen all kinds of comments now where the city, the school is cursed, first Jordan Travis and now Miles Bailey. But yeah, FSU's season has changed in a big, big way because great player, Miles.
Yeah.
So
Well,
hearts out to happy recovery. So yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, one of the keys to the team's success already for sure. Those lower leg injuries, man, especially when they look like that, I don't want to see it, more than once. But yeah, when your foot's facing the wrong way, kind of thing, not good. It's
yeah,
tough.
but he had successful surgery, and they're expected to have a full recovery. So yeah,
Good. Well, good luck to him and staying with baseball, major leagues. It's early. Marlin, I'll tell you how early it is. It's so early that the Florida Marlins. I almost said Miami Marlins.
Miami. It is Miami Marlins.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
The Miami Marlins. Yeah, they are leading the division at 3-0.
Well, that's like the A's. I sometimes want to call them the Oakland A's. Or wait, it's just they're in Sacramento now, right?
Yeah.
So is it the Sacramento A's?
So no, they're not using the Sacramento or any other city or town's name on their official. This is the official team uniforms, official team publications of any kind. It just says either athletics or A's. So they literally are not adopting. Obviously, they're playing in Sacramento for the next couple of seasons at Sutter Health Park in West Sacramento, home of the AAA Sacramento River Cats.
Yeah.
Are there rivers in Sacramento? I don't even know. But anyways, until their new permanent home opens in Las Vegas. So yeah, they're the Athletics or the A's, not Sacramento.
Well, because you mentioned the Marlins, 3-0. I had to wear my Marlins jersey that I've had for 30 years since their inception.
Yep.
And the only thing I wish I had was $6,000 like the Marlin man, so I can go to World Series games and sit right behind home plate, or the WBC. I don't have it. So anyway, three teams in the NL are undefeated, and that's the Marlins, Brewers, and Dodgers. And now,
who was the last one? Who was
the Los Angeles Dodgers?
The Dodgers are undefeated. Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. And then in the American League, there's only 2 teams that are undefeated, and how fitting because it's taken us back to the race where it was final day to see if the Yankees were going to be wild card or division champs or the Blue Jays. So it's just the Yankees and the Blue Jays in the American League. So
yeah, Yankees and Blue Jays both 3-0. This is when my brother would chime in and go, have they played each other? So it's a long story.
Yeah.
But no, they haven't played each other. They're both 3-0. How could and you don't understand? Yeah. But no, it's it's early. We'll see. We'll keep an eye on things. Hey, it's always great to get off to a good start. That's for sure.
And speaking of good
Speaking of,
starts and not getting off to a good start, we're a real quick mention. Thanks to Top Cat for sending me this as well. The automated ball strikes has already changed and added a whole new perspective to watching baseball or being at a baseball game. And already all over the news on this subject, the umpire, who is famous for not making good calls all the time. He's not a favorite of the players or managers, teams, period. CB Bucknor. Remember that name. CB Bucknor has been awful. And so the good thing is they're grading these guys now to umpire games accurately, because you know what's going to happen if they don't. They're going to get the tap of the helmet. But anyway, in the Red Sox game, 2 pitches in a row, Suarez had to tap his helmet. Both times, CB Bucknor rung him up with a 2-2 count, right? Both times he was wrong. Bucknor's calls were overturned. Both those pitches were balls. That's how bad he is.
hey,
So maybe he'll go into the sunset with Angel Hernandez and be long gone because he's horrible.
well, I've heard he's been hanging around with his new best friend Terry Porter. So Terry Porter and him actually hang out together. Terry Porter, the famous back judge for the Ohio State Miami game, who called the not sure holding, pass interference, not sure, as he ran up with the flag that was thrown 8 seconds after the play was over. Yeah, I'm sure they should be hanging out together at least. And while we're on the the subject of officiating,
Yeah.
it's not looking good. For in case anyone out there is not aware, the NFL and the referees have been negotiating or trying to negotiate a new, collective bargaining agreement, or whatever they call it. The National or NFL Referee Association have been opposed to some really, really, really staunch, requirements that the NFL is trying to impose. For example, referees that referee in the playoff, referees and umpires that referee in the playoffs and Super Bowl should be rewarded or graded based on performance during the year. The NFLRA says no, it should be seniority. Okay, hey, listen, sounds a little bit like DEI to me. I'm just saying. Another thing is they're giving them a 6% pay raise. They want 10. So, okay, that's a money thing, we can tell. And then the last one, really, they want some kind of mechanism where if a referee is, like your baseball analogy, if there's a referee that just seems to be kind of struggling with making the right call, they have, kind of a remedial training thing they can go to and, go over film, go over, certain areas of improvement for that referee. The NFLRA doesn't want any part of that, because it sounds like it's trying to make officials like full-time employees and all that. The bottom line is this: May 31st is the deadline, but the NFL has said on May 1st, because we can't wait till the 31st, on May 1st, we are hiring part-timers, or we are hiring, whatever, college referees, and we are going to put the resources into training them. They're even saying they'll go as far as instituting, a multitude of more layers of replay to help them and make sure they get it right, because you may not remember the last time this happened was years and years ago, when they call it the Fail Mary, when Green Bay and Seattle in that game-winning Hail Mary was, overturned by replacement referees. So anyways, we'll keep an eye on it. It's obviously May. We don't really, start jumping into football until, August and all that. But this is something going on in the world of football that could be important.
And that's a significant difference. You said 6.5% to 10%.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, last time it was 5.75. This time it's up to 6% pay raise. These referees, I think it's the average salary of the referees is $350,000. And again, they're not employees, so they can go get other jobs. A lot of these guys, remember, they used to be lawyers and all that.
And judges.
They try to find people who are, above scrutiny, or who can't be, bought. Making them employees would be a good idea. And if they don't want to do it, it wouldn't take, 30 years to bring in new people who do want to be employees, make 400-500 grand a year working once a week, kind of thing for only, 5 months out of the year, and get them trained up and going, and, put in some extra replay or whatever you need for the first year or two, and get rid of these guys if they don't want to do it. What an easy, I'm sorry, what a job you're doing. You travel once a week to a stadium somewhere. You call a game for 3.5 hours. I understand there's probably more prep work than that, but just to consolidate my opinion, and you're going to walk out because you don't want to be trained, because you don't want to be judged, because you don't want to be graded to be able to referee in the playoffs. Give me a break.
Yeah,
Shut
no
up.
kidding. Speaking of umpires and referees, I remember earlier in your career, it might have been right after you got out of the Marines, you were looking very seriously at becoming a baseball umpire. Am I correct?
Yes, I was. School is in Orlando. It might still be there. Kind of changed my mind when I heard, first 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 14 years is brutal. Minor leagues and all that. Not that I wasn't willing to, make that investment, but, something else came along that was a lot more dependable and lucrative. But I've always
Absolutely.
respected the referees in all sports. I PA high school basketball. The fact that there are high school basketball referees that you can even find to do a game with all the crap they take, the fans, I mean, these parents, yelling, I'm talking obscenities at these guys,
Yeah.
For calling traveling on their precious little boy. That may cost him his chance to go to college and play D1. Never.
At least they call traveling in high school.
Well, you know what? That's a good point. That was, at least they call it in high school, not the NBA, which is
we'll get to that on another show.
We've got to pull up a compilation of all the non-traveling calls, because there's so many resources on the internet where you can find them, man. It's actually, I don't know whether it's funny or sad, quite frankly.
I think most of our viewers have seen them all. So
yeah, I know.
We'll have to pull out the best ones.
Yes. All right. Well, let's get to the star of the show. Let's get to basketball. We definitely want to review. We'll have a, what's going to happen show later on this week. So this show, let's just talk about what happened, and let me get some of your thoughts on it. What was your take?
Well, right off the bat, we had Teddy on, and we did our Elite Eight picks, right? All three of us picked Illinois. All three of us picked Arizona. All three of us picked Michigan. You see a pattern there?
I do.
And then all two of us, Teddy and I, picked Duke, and you picked UConn to hit the grand salami, the 4 for 4 batting 1,000. Give me another something to the accolades belong to you.
Thank you. Thank you for the recognition on our global podcast, so the world can know what a great picker I am.
Prognostication.
Yes. Yeah. And it all came down to the UConn Duke game. I think that was the game. And by the way, I'm not saying it wasn't fun if you're a Michigan fan to watch your team win by 33 points. It wasn't that fun to watch the second half for someone who, wanted Michigan to win, but really kind of wanted a good game. Wow, Michigan looks scary. But Duke UConn was the game everyone wanted to watch. At 19 points down, I thought, here we go again. This is not turning out not only the way I like it, but wow. Good thing I didn't turn it off or walk away, because watched UConn just chip away.
And we came up with a word. The first half, we were witnessing once again, as far as the subject of fouls that were called, Duke-sparity. They had a lot more. They spent a lot more trips to the charity stripe than UConn did. But that all changed at halftime. And it got so bad.
Well, it did change. It did change. And before you go on, I just want to point out that this was in the first half. I want you, if you can't see, get closer to your screen and look at the 5 minutes to go in the first half. Duke fouls 2. UConn fouls 9. right down there at the bottom. That
Yes.
is, part of my, what was the term you used?
Um,
Duke Sparity. Yeah,
Duke
because
Sparity.
Duke Sparity. And I'm telling you, it's not Joe. Are you a really big Duke fan? No. Do you like it when Duke loses? Well, not for the people, but yeah, I love it. But listen, this has been going on for a long time, and looks like one of the biggest uh, tools that Krzyzewski passed down to Shire was how to get the referees to be completely biased in your favor. Because against Siena, Duke 13, Siena 18, Duke 15, TCU 17, Duke 13, St. John's 18. I mean, it goes on and on. I think something finally happened because it ended up UConn and Duke had 13-13 by the end of the game. So they fixed it.
And they had 3. No, that's okay.
No, I'm sorry for rambling on about it. And I know it's like the referees, but I'm watching it.
Yeah, through 3 games, Top Cats showed me the Duke had free throw attempts 68. Then they played Siena, TCU, and St. John's, and their free throw attempts were combined at 22.
Yes.
So I was watching that game yesterday, and right away I was sitting there going, "Here we go again." It almost made me want to turn it off. So I just want fair referee. That's all.
That's all we all want in every sport. And listen,
Yeah.
I get it. If you have like a dominant big man, I'm just throwing names, Shaquille O'Neal's in the paint and you got no choice but just hack a Shaq. Remember that? That's an actual term. That's how they
sure
live.
is.
That's how the only thing you could do to try to stay in the game was hack a Shaq. And I mean, obviously there was a reason for that, but don't tell me for 1 second. I mean, it is impossible to believe that Terrace Reed Jr., who lived in the paint as well as Boozer, was not getting hacked the same amount of times trying to get rebounds and put balls up into the paint that Boozer was. Because I can assure you, I watched it. It was a disparity. Now, having said that, let's get to the couple things. The Boozer twins, they are awesome. They've led their high school, Columbus High School, to 4 straight titles. They are great. They're great kids. They're great representatives of Duke and basketball.
Christopher Columbus
Catholic High School for boys, my alma mater.
Yep.
They both touched the ball on the very last possession after a UConn timeout. So they both had a chance to talk about this nuddle. They come out. First, Cam Boozer gets it. Now, why don't you just hold the ball and get fouled? Okay? Wasn't like a 10-second rule 10-second violation was happening anytime soon. Try to get fouled. You go to the line. Okay, well, he throws it to his brother. Now his brother gets it. Now his brother, all he has to do is hold the ball and get fouled. If they, try to steal it to get fouled, he makes a terrible decision, tries to pass it. The rest is, history, but it wasn't like it was an automatic thing. That history had to be made by one Braylon Mullins, who, it was a 35-footer in everybody's estimation, and it was all net. And I'm sure you've seen the Shire isolation. I'm sure you've seen the commentators' isolation. Wow.
And the net even went like Poof. That because it was just nothing but net.
Total.
Had a little fluff to it.
It was beautiful.
And you sent me a text last night. Was that top 5 greatest historic finishes? And I said, without a question.
Top 5, 100%. I guess the comparisons, Christian Leitner's shot. Was it as big as that shot? Well, I would argue it is, and here's why. Christian Leitner's shot was an inbound play. It was a full court length pass to the top of the key. Christian Leitner caught it, turned around, and hit an iconic, all-time shot in the tournament. Yep. So that one will live. This one I rank higher because it wasn't an inbound play. They had to get a steal. They had to get a turnover. They had to do something to get that shot, which the odds of that happening to even get the shot were probably 1 in 1,000. It took a Boozer to literally make a really big mistake and not holding that ball and trying to pass the ball. That pass had to be deflected, and then you had to get it. That pass had to go to the guy who just hit a three, big time three a minute ago. And that guy, what did he do? Threw it right back to Mullins, said, not me, you, brother, you freshman. And then, of course, the rest is history. So what had to transpire for that play makes it, in my opinion, maybe the top one.
I've never been so happy to see one of my brackets go up in flames.
I know. I agree. I had two brackets. By the way, in my other bracket, I'm winning by like 38 points. I don't even know if I have to have anybody else win to win it, but UConn or Michigan loss, I think, helps me. But anyways, no, the other bracket I had Duke, and I was thrilled.
That I read when a team has led in the Elite Eight 134 times, the team with a 15-point lead in our history, 15-point lead at halftime, has gone on to win the game. Until last night.
Yeah. Wow.
134-0 is now 134-1.
Yeah. Well, let's. There's a couple other great games we got to talk about, but let me leave you with this. John Shire. Okay, here's his record in the tournament. When he got handed this key to the Lamborghini, they lost 60. They lost by 8. Excuse me. They lost by 12 in the 2024 Elite Eight, 76-64 to number 11 NC State. So they were, big time outscored in the second half in that game. Then next year they lose to Houston. That's respectable, except they blew a 14-point lead in the second half. Okay, you see the trend here?
Yes.
Yesterday they blew a 19-point lead in the first half, but were easily up by 9, 10, 11 with, less than 10 minutes to go. So, hey, if you're a Duke fan, man, you got to be starting to get a little frustrated because 3 out of the last 4 years you've had the number one class. And don't forget, these are ones and dones a lot of times now, so you don't get 2, 3 chances at it.
Yeah, it was crazy. What was the next game you wanted to?
Let's talk about Michigan.
Michigan.
33 blowout. We don't need spend a lot of time on this game, and I'll tell you why. And don't forget, Tennessee really wants to slow the game down. They didn't want to run with Michigan, and they did slow the game down for themselves, scoring 62. Michigan put up 95. Michigan looks really good, man.
They do. But what was weird is the very, very beginning of the game, Tennessee was flying.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, these guys really – who are these guys? Like Butch Cassidy and a Sundance Kid. Who are these guys?
Yeah.
They look really
it
good.
took a minute for Lindenborg to get going, but once he did, it really helped. Yeah, they look good, man.
But Michigan, the bigs, and nice performance by Cadeau, Elliot Cadeau. He sounds like a detective. I don't know why.
Yeah, because you're thinking of Pink Panther, Inspector Clouseau.
Inspector Clouseau, Elliot Cadeau. Yeah, he was clutch. He looks very relaxed out there. But I'll tell you what, there were a few times. One thing about Cadeau who I'm worried about is he was getting the ball. He was turning it over a bit. But was that because he kept getting hacked and fouled? It looked that way too. So
I'll tell you what, man. He played for Carolina. I really like Elliot Cadeau. For a little guy, they say 6'1". I don't know if he's that. He is tough, man. When he decides to go to the hole, he does, and he can finish at the hole. His 3-point shooting has gone up to 38% this year, and believe it or not, I think that's a big difference for Michigan because when he was at Carolina, I think he was shooting 19 from 3, so you didn't really have to defend him out there. Well, now you do. And so somebody's going to get the ball because he's a great passer.
Yeah, Michigan could very well bust my bracket, which now I'll just say it. It's Arizona. All hopes are on the Arizona Wildcats for me in my other bracket.
Yeah, well, we're looking at Illinois. Illinois took care of business. I think the Cinderella slipper broke for Iowa. The fact that they beat Florida and just really got this far was kudos to them. But Illinois is going to be tough for anybody really because it's really their rebounding, man. Wagler had 12 rebounds, 13 points, but I think they've been out rebounding everybody in this whole tournament so far by like 13, like per game. They are an incredible rebounding team, and and good defensively too. So they're going to be a tough out for someone as well.
Yep, I really like Illinois. I've said it on the previous show. They could. I mean, here we are. We just said it about Michigan. Now we're saying it about Illinois. All these teams that are in it now definitely deserve it.
Well, no question. You don't. It's not lucky to get this far, and also, two Big Ten teams in this year's Final Four.
Yeah.
SEC. What happened to the SEC? They started with 10. Florida, Alabama, Arkansas, Vanderbilt were all top 5 seeds gone. I guess I don't want to say the blue bloods are gone and all that, but I'm telling you right now, man, it's a parity. NIL's making it much more level playing field. You don't just have the 4-5 teams dominating anymore. So,
which is what our friend Scott told us the same thing. 6 out of 8 teams were top seeds in baseball last year for the SEC. None of them made the final. 2 years running, the SEC has not played for the national championship. There's a little pattern going on here. And then he said, now they have no team in the Final Four. And he said, NIL. Thank you, Scott.
We're going to talk about these matchups here in the Final Four, and I think they're going to be great, man. You can't ask for a better matchup than Michigan, Arizona, and Illinois, UConn. It's going to be great. I'm glad the 2 Big Ten teams are not playing each other. So
me too.
That's just the way it worked out, obviously, but I'm glad. I do want to, before we go, and we'll catch you on the next podcast to get our picks and all that for the upcoming Final Four. But we didn't mention or don't mention the women's side very often.
Yes.
But the women's side, you've had some, pretty good upsets, but the cream rises to the top. You got number 1 UConn and a number 1 UCLA already in their Final Four, with TCU number 3 playing 1 South Carolina and number 2 Michigan playing number 1 Texas. Just a little quick tidbit here. If UConn already has men's and women in the Final Four, if Michigan upsets Texas, Michigan will have a men's and women's team in the Final Four. Not sure if that's a record or anything. Hell, it might be 4 for 4 in that category sometimes, but that's pretty interesting. But real quick, shout out to a couple of women performers, because you're looking at, what's her name for Notre Dame? Unbelievable. She is, I got to find her stat real quick, because it's just an unbelievable performance from her. But I can't find her right now. Oh, yeah, Hannah Hidalgo. I couldn't pull her name up, but I love her name anyways, Hannah Hidalgo. But here's a stat for you: 31-point triple-double. Okay, all right. Well, she had 31 points. She had 10 rebounds. What she had 10 steals was the third leg of the triple-double. And of course, Sarah Strong, who's going to be number 1 pick in the WNBA draft, I'm sure. 21 points, 10 rebounds. And she does it every game. But so we're looking at that. So we'll keep an eye on the women's. This time of year for the women's is pretty exciting too. So
yep, sounds good.
It does sound good, man. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see what we pick for the Final Four, and I'm looking forward to next weekend for sure. But for right now, that's it for this episode of the Undrafted Armchair Quarterbacks with Jim and Joe. Thanks for checking us out and hanging with us for some real fan-driven sports talk.
Thanks again, folks, for your comments. Keep them a part of the show. We'll do our part. You do your part. Okay. And please hit like, subscribe, and join us for free every week on YouTube, Spotify, for free. YouTube, Spotify, Instagram, and TikTok. And last thing I want to say before I say goodbye is I hope we can get Teddy and his Final Four picks as well.
We'll get Teddy on for our picks and his thoughts as well as we close out college basketball. Kind of a sad thing, but wow, March Madness has delivered, so it's worth it.
Always does. It really does.
See you later, my friend. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, Joe.